Well, thank you so much for staying with Morning Live. Now, coming to a rather disturbing story now. And this of the alleged rape of a 6-year-old girl by an 11-year-old boy. And this took place in a school in Mpumalanga. And provincial education authorities have established a task team to further investigate this matter. Social workers have also been deployed to assist, as the grade 1 learner is said to be struggling to open up about the incident. And to tell us more and also help us understand exactly what is going on here, we are joined now by Benita Nel, who's the director of Childline in Mpumalanga. Benita, thanks so much for speaking to us this morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, Benita, first and foremost, you know, this is one of those cases where one really struggles, the mind boggles when you think of children who are so young and one of them perpetrating such a heinous crime. So in terms of just helping us as a society wrap our heads around this, where do we start?
I think what is important is that children isn't born pedophiles or with intent to harm other children. They are exposed to different experiences in life. They can see things, hear things, relate to things. There's parental behavior and peer group pressure. And all of these things kind of program us to the behavior that comes later on. A child this young doesn't predetermine that I'm going to do this. Often we find he's curious, maybe what's going to happen. Someone told him about a sexual activity, or he saw a video or something on the social media and then tried it out, and now this has happened. And I'm not sure about the circumstances, if the two young kids knew each other, if they were in the same school, but I think the opportunity presented and the person tried out whatever he's seen or hear or have been exposed to. And we call it inappropriate sexual behavior because I don't think it's appropriate for the age group of this little boy where he presently is.
So it's not appropriate, and yet the word rape is being bandied about, and that comes with certain implications and connotations. So, yes. As you say, you know, when children are exposed to certain things and they start experimenting and exploring, it's one thing. But in this particular instance, would it be correct? Do children this young have the capacity to actually commit rape?
That is a very technical question because normally rape is not associated with the sexual act. It's a lot about power and gender-based violence. So one wouldn't know with not enough information what happened in this situation. And if it was predetermined rape, that was therefore he thought that he wants to overpower this girl and he was angry because anger is often part of rape, or was it sexual experimentation? I think the team who's doing the investigation will give you more answers on this particular case. Normally for an 11-year-old, it is inappropriate sexual behavior.
Now, we know as a country that we do struggle with the scourge of sexual offences, Benita, but how
Yes.
prevalent is this amongst children?
I haven't got the statistics in front of me, but we don't get this reported that often. Many times family keeps it in-house, especially when it was children who knew each other, the family, a fellow family member. They don't bring it out and talk. It's only later when the girl grows up and she's more self-assured that she will talk about it. Often it's also to do with the self-image that I'm not good enough. If I tell everybody about this, it's going to make me even worse. So let me just look cool and seem like I'm coping and this is just life. And then that puts a lot of emotional strain on the little girl and maybe the young boy too, because they don't know how to deal with all the emotions that they are experiencing in such a situation.
So, given that scenario that you've just sketched for us, where these children would obviously be going through a roller coaster of emotions, how best should those around them who are tasked with dealing with this matter, and of course the public at large, how best should we respond to this situation?
I would refrain from getting involved into this particular matter because those children are over bombarded already with lots of experiences. But for the children around us, I think it's very important to build trustworthy, solid relationship with our kids. I want to ask parents to listen to their children, talk to their children. We've got life orientation in schools these days that prepare them for sexual activities. They get information. It's age appropriate. It's correctly done according to the Department of Education. So the children should be okay. But it's not the school alone that builds these children. It's society, it's the family, it's the ecosystem in which they function that put down those norms and values on which they operate. And that is me and you as a parent, where they observe our good example, where they've got an opportunity to talk if they're worrying about something. You would rather have your child come and talk to you as a parent and say, Mom, what would happen if this or that take place, than to talk to a friend or to someone else or an auntie or an uncle. So how much time do we invest into our parenting, into our relationship with our children? And also to build that trust that we can have the children spontaneously relate to us on these issues that they're wondering and that they want to experiment with.
And just a final question, Benita. Given this particular instance, parents often ask, how early, how soon could you start having these type of discussions with your children? And what would your advice be in this regard?
My advice would be to let the child guide you. When on his age group, he's ready for information, he's going to start asking questions. Answer what he asks. Don't overload him with information. Step by step, you'll see the child will start asking maybe more, deeper questions, and then you respond appropriately on the same level. Because sometimes we just give the child everything, the whole sexual experience, and he's not emotionally ready. Children would be different development phases and different ages. So let's work with them on their level, on where they are ready to receive the information, to work with this information, to internalize it, and then to become human beings with fully functional sexual orientation.
Well, Benita, thank you so much for speaking to us about this very, very touchy and sensitive subject this morning. And I'm hoping that that information would be helpful to parents especially. And also, as Benita says, let the child guide you. Don't bombard them with information that perhaps they are not quite ready to internalize as yet. And Benita Nel is the director of Childline in Mpumalanga. We're going to